question. I mean, everyone knows, story is the base, story is your core, right? That is where you need to hit people in the gut. But further to that, as a professional screenwriter, as an up and coming screenwriter, what are some of the skill sets that you think, a screenwriter should have? Anyone would want to go first? Yes, it's an early morning. Okay, so maybe Kane,
I'll try
Kane,
first.
yeah, Kane being the Vice President for Screenwriters Association of Singapore, what would you advise, a
What
young...
would I advise? I think for writers, especially young writers that maybe haven't produced a lot of work yet, but have been working on their craft. For me, the number one thing is I think you need to be seen. And I mean, when I say be seen, I mean you need to be seen in the digital space and almost see yourself as a business person or as an entrepreneur yourself. So I always advocate that you set up your own platform, whether that be your own website, your own blog, get your social media accounts going, telling people about who you are and what you do. Because for me, if you, in today's world, I honestly feel that if people can't find you, if people can't search your name, if people can't isolate your stories from a sea of content out there, you don't exist. You really don't exist. And there's no reason for anybody really to give you an opportunity. And one of the simplest ways to do that, as I said, is to create your own platforms. So for myself, it has always been building up my own website. It's always been making sure that even my Instagram, when I talk about what I do on my Instagram quite often, it is strategically created to tell people what I do and why, so that I attract a certain audience that, honestly speaking, I can then tap into when I want to get my story to the next level. So you are an entrepreneur yourself, I would say, is the number one thing. I think Jay-Z said it best. He said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So you are a business. Every idea you come up with is a business, and you can use, whether it's a script, whether it is a book, whether it's an audio book, whether it's a podcast, a blog entry, all of these can be turned into other forms of IP that could eventually sustain you, and you can monetize, and you can make a long-term career out of it. So number one, be an entrepreneur yourself. See yourself as a business-minded writer, not just a writer in a room writing whatever you like.
Interesting. I was expecting things like, passion, never say die, daring do.
I mean, that's a given. I think most writers quit because exactly they write in isolation, they pitch it, and then it gets rejected, and then they feel like their stuff is no good, and then they get disheartened and they don't keep going. Yes. And half of being a screenwriter or a writer in general, I think, is that you just try to be the last man standing, and you just keep going. And I think if you can keep going, keep producing, keep creating, keep experimenting with different platforms, obviously, you will find your niche. You will find that audience. But it takes time, so don't expect it to be immediate. But definitely keep going and use digital technologies to advantage. Don't see it as a something that's going to take away artistic credit, but use it to your advantage, because it makes it easier for people to find you and employ you. Yeah.
Anyone else